DeAndre Swift did not practice for the Bears.
That guy's had like 30 yards every week. So he's terrible.
Yeah. The Bears' offensive line isn't good. The only thing that concerns me is if they let Caleb Williams get loose again. With Ivan Pace out, that's an issue. I kind of thought the Vikings would be able to compensate for his loss in the run game, but man, I don't know. I think the Vikings have got to be able to figure out a way to be able to keep Caleb Williams in the pocket. That said, the Bears have lost 7 in a row. They had 3 straight brutal, I mean brutal, division losses. They had that blocked field goal that would have won them a game against the Green Bay at home. They had that overtime loss to the Vikings. And they had that unforgivable Thanksgiving Day loss to the Lions, where they had the ball on what? It was the
like 25 or the 30-yard line or something like that, yeah. And a timeout in their pocket.
A timeout, and I think they had damn near a minute left.
Yep, something like that.
And all they needed was a field goal to tie the game and go to overtime, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they had no points. They got no points out of that. It cost Matt Eberflus his job, who had already fired Shane Waldron, who had promoted, let me check my notes here, Thomas Brown to interim offensive coordinator, who is now the interim head coach, which is why Robert W. Farnsworth made the head coaching joke. You know, so you lose those 3 games, you lose that brutal Hail Mary game to the Commanders, and now you're reeling, man. You've lost, what, I think 7 straight. You were 4-2 at one point. You're now, what's your record, 4-8? 4-9. You lost 7 straight. And now last week, in your interim head coach's debut, Thomas Brown, you get absolutely pantsed by a 49ers team that is dealing with, I mean, granted, you're on the road. I get it. And you're going to the West Coast, and I time zone changes and all that garbage. But if there's a team that was ever ripe for the taking, it's the 49ers with McCaffrey out, Deebo Samuel hurt, Brock Purdy's not playing his best football of the year. I don't think Nick Bosa played last week, or if he was not at his best. Like, look, if you got up and went to the bathroom and went to the refrigerator and grabbed a beer and got back on your couch, you gained more yardage than the Chicago Bears offense did in the first half last week.
Let's talk about that game, because that has some intangibilistic, whatever the word may be, going into this game. There's a lot to happen in that San Francisco game. I rewatched it because I lived in the Bay Area. My buddies were calling me saying, you're into like tasty tidbits. You got to watch what's going on here. So I did. Let's take a second and just look at what happened last week to the Bears. And this may not be something they come back. They might end up losing the rest of the season because of this. And there's chatter out there that guys are quitting on this team. And this game, if you watch this game, it's hard to dispute that, Chris. Chicago was outgained 319 yards to 4 in the first half. 4. Guess how many punts they had, Ted?
5.
6. 5.
5. They had more punts than yards gained. That's your starter. Caleb Williams got sacked 7 times in the first half. They got outgained all that yards. There were 7 sacks. They were down 24 points at the half. There's people that do the crunching of the numbers that were coming out on social media saying, if you look at the numbers of the first half of the Niners and Bears game, it's arguably the most one-sided first half of football in 33 years.
That's
the dominant. If you take it play by play, factor in the stats, factor in the plays, everything, it's the most dominating performance by one team or another in 33 years. Caleb Williams has been sacked 56 times so far this season. That's the most of any Chicago Bear quarterback dating back to the merger in 1970. 56 times. The Bears have scored on only 24% of their drives on the road this year. That's last in the league. Everything points to them just getting their asses whipped. I mean, I know we still got to play the game, but what happened in San Francisco might have damaged them the rest of the season. We're going to find out Monday night. The Vikings could blow this team out of the building if they play like they did against the Niners. Now, they came back against the Niners 38-14. Is that making it respectable?
No.
Niners just put in all the subs. Williams was, 17 for 34 for 134 yards. He had a fumble, fought back with a couple touchdowns, but they were just so overwhelmed in that first. And it was the Niners. They gave up. They're going through the motions. They don't know who their head coach is. They want the season to be over. And they're going into a hostile environment in the White Winter Warrior and Monday Night Football. We're going to see what kind of class that team has and what an intestinal fortitude. I never knew what that meant, but I think this is what it means. Monday night. They can get their ass ran out of that stadium by halftime. If the Niners can do it, we can do it. They're in bad shape.
I saw a thing, and Chris, I don't know if you saw this on X or Twitter or whatever. I think a lot of this for the Bears starts at the top. Kevin Warren, who was with the Vikings for a long time, went to the Big Ten, became the Big Ten commissioner when Jim Delaney retired, screwed up the Big Ten, especially during the COVID year, then moved to the Chicago Bears and hired Ryan Poles as their general manager. There is a lot of confusion in the Bears front office as to who is really running that franchise. When you have confusion in the front office as to who is the real boss is, that trickles down to the coaching staff and the players, and nobody really knows who's in charge. I'm not saying that's part of the problem, but I'm also saying that's not part of the problem. Remember when Matt Eberflus got fired after the Lions game?
Yeah.
They let him go on camera that Friday morning. I think they were playing, I believe it was the Colts the next week.
It was after Thanksgiving, and they sent him out there on that Friday because they had like the mini bye. Because this game against the Niners was Thomas Brown's first game as head coach.
Right,
So,
okay.
They let him go out there on Friday morning to, I'm getting ready for the Niners. It's going to be awesome. And then like 2 hours later, he was fired.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
Exactly.
Jesus.
Like Eberflus had no idea. It looked like, I didn't see it live, but I watched the clips afterward. He's like, no, I have every confidence that I'm going to remain the coach of this team. And then an hour or 2 hours after that, the Bears announced he was getting fired. And players afterwards said, yeah, it had to happen. And that's fair. But why do you let the coach who you are pretty sure you're going to fire go out and have that press conference?
Have some dignity, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
We thought it was harsh, after the Wills bought the team in 2005 when, Mike Tice coached that last game at the Metrodome for that team, and they basically fired that dude as he was walking back to the locker room. At least they didn't make him go out in front of the media and, answer questions and, be like, oh yeah, it's time to get ready for the draft. And no, I go out there and be like, yeah, I'm already preparing for next week. And it's like, the hell you are, because you're not the coach of the team anymore.
And Drew, there's reports coming out that either, Ryan Poles isn't fully in charge. Kevin Warren is kind of more in charge than Ryan Poles is.
Guy behind the curtain, Wizard of Oz.
And people are speculating about that with the Vikings for a couple of years. We know that's really not true now, but it might be true with the Bears. And now they're talking about hiring an established kind of a retread NFL coach. If I'm a Bears player,
hire Ryan Day.
Yeah, hire him. Hire Ryan Day. Get him out of Ohio State and hire Ryan Day. That's what I do.
I would love to.
And I would hire Bjork, the Ohio State athletic director who is de-emphasizing the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry. I would hire him as your general manager. That's what I do. That's what I do right now. Right now, today, make it happen. It just seems like when an organization is in turmoil, a part of the organization, the entire organization, that entire organization right now, Drew, is just in utter chaos. And you can see it on the field.
Is. And you can see last week during that Bears-Niners clash that was clearly Eberflus's, whatever his name is, his fault. I'm going to throw a couple things at you. You guys are going to go, what the hell is going on? This is how this game can get out of hand pretty quick, guys. Minnesota has outscored their opponents by 55 points, 92-37, in the first quarter. The best differential in football.
Wow. Chicago
has been outscored 43 points in the first quarter, 29th in the league. The Vikings, since that game at Soldier Field, they have gotten the team back on track. I think a lot of it is not forcing that ball to Justin Jefferson like they were at the Jets game. And a few games after that, Ted talked about forcing. Why is everything going deep? 3rd and 1, why are you throwing it deep? The deep passing. Justin Jefferson zoned in on him. Now they're taking what they're being given by Addison and Hawkinson. The offense is starting to come together the way kind of we thought they would, rather than forcing the football. Just in the last 3 weeks. So the Bears are in for a nightmare there. The Vikings are finding their way with their offense. That could be a bigger nightmare than the Bears, because they were still searching for it in that Bears game, even though they got a little bit from Addison that game. But the Bears don't start games well. And I know we talk about the old Bears teams with You can go back to Jimmy Mack, all those divisional games we played, Chris Carter and the Monday Night Football, the overtime winner on Monday Night Football that he caught. Bears-Vikings game back then, if that was the old school Bears, they'd be coming in here ready to ruin our season Monday night. Ruin us. I've been watching this rivalry for a lot of years, guys, and this Monday night game doesn't have that feel to it.
No.
It has a feel of the Jacksonville 50-10 beatdown. That's what it feels like to me because of the state the Bears are in that Ted just mentioned. Guys giving up last week against the Niners. Will they show up on prime time and have some pride and play us tough, or will we kick the nuts off them? I'm not worried about this game at all.
It kind of looks like the Bears have made the worst possible choice of all the people they could have promoted to the head coaching spot because, well, think about this for a second. Think about it. Last year, after the Carolina Panthers took Bryce Young, number 1 overall, put him into the offense, he looked like crap for almost the entire of the season, and they were already put the bus label on him. Guess who Carolina's offensive coordinator was last season?
The Bears guy.
Thomas Brown, who is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And this guy gets promoted faster than Billy Madison, for Christ's sake. He's one week he's like the wide receivers coach or something, and then they fire the offensive coordinator, so they promote him to the offensive coordinator, and then 2 weeks later they fire the head coach, so they promote him to the head coach spot. I mean, I don't know who the hell the rest of the coaching staff is. It's like that Bugs Bunny cartoon where they're playing the baseball game. Like, first base, Bugs Bunny. Second base, Bugs Bunny.
Attention, there's been a slight change in the teetotaler lineup. Catching, Bugs Bunny. Left field, Bugs Bunny. Right field, Bugs Bunny. Pitching, Bugs Bunny. Third base, Bugs Bunny. Center field, Bugs Bunny. First base, Bugs Bunny. Shortstop, Bugs Bunny. Second base, Bugs Bunny.
Thomas Brown is like the only guy on the coaching staff in Chicago at this point, for Christ. I don't know what's going on. It's bad. He's bad. He's not a good
What
coach.
you're saying is, if the Bears were the Corleone family, Fredo would be the head coach.
The whole damn coaching staff is Fredo. Oh, man, they're not good.
I'm smart,
folks.
Mike. I'm smart, see?
Not dumb like everyone says I am. Yeah.
That's why I don't see them digging down deep and showing up Monday night. I don't. If the Vikings play any game like they did the fourth quarter against the Falcons, nobody in this league can beat them. Nobody can.
Right. You know what? I've seen a lot of posts and stuff on social media and reading articles and whatever talking about the Vikings. ESPN and folks saying, people are sleeping on the Vikings and they shouldn't. I agree with them. If the Minnesota Vikings play the brand of football they're capable of playing, and one of the things I've loved about the Vikings this year is overall how disciplined the Vikings have played, other than maybe the Rams game where they had really untimely penalties. If the Vikings play disciplined football and don't commit a lot of penalties, they win football games. Mm-hmm. And the Bears are one of the most undisciplined football teams in the NFL. If the Vikings can play to the level they are capable of playing at, this game is going to be over by halftime, like the 49ers game was last week. They were up, 24-0 at halftime?
Something like that.
They were up 24-0, but the Niners said after the game, without boasting about it, we could have been up 40-0 if we wanted to.
When you add in the Winter Warrior jersey and the alternate helmet with the white helmet and the Monday Night Football, and the Vikings finally, Drew, you've been talking about it for multiple weeks about the Vikings just getting by with one score here and one score wins there, and finally figuring it out against the Falcons last week. Man, you're right. I just think if the Vikings are just going to blow up against an opponent, this just sort of feels like it's coming together. National television. Right. I'm just throwing this out there. What if, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if the Lions and the Eagles lose on Sunday?
Ooh, that would be nice.
That could happen. I mean, you got Pittsburgh. Eagles got Pittsburgh, and the Lions got the Bills. Those are two
legitimate teams.
But it's the Vikings, so they'll both lose, and then we'll blow it. It's the Vikings.
Hell no.
I think the Vikings are either going to win by 28 or lose by 3.
Never rocket science with this football stuff, guys. It's not. From watching Michigan, Ohio State, college football, when I watched Michigan, I knew the games are going to blow people out. The Bears played us tough. And they lost. They blew it on that game, lost in overtime. Then they played Detroit pretty tough. They could have won that game. That took a lot out of them losing that game, Ted. And every week they've taken A little bit out of them, Chris. And then last week, they had nothing. That was when they hit rock bottom last week. What are they going to do? The wheels are off now. It's not like they're playing us tough to be the division rival. They don't care about the division rivalry. They want to go home.
I obviously never played in the NFL, but I played high school football. I've been kind of in a similar situation. We played in a conference, and we lost 3 really tough games in a row. Games we could have won, we should have won, one-score games. And after that third loss, it was just crushing. And it was kind of I mean, I honestly, yeah. I hate to use that term, but it was like we have played our best 3 games. We should have won all 3 games. We didn't. And our coach didn't get fired. You know, throw in that factor, throwing our offense, throwing the offensive coordinator get fired, throw in the coach getting fired, and now throwing the offensive coordinator getting promoted to interim head coach. And it was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not trying to compare high school football with the NFL. I'm just saying this is human nature. I just think at some point, you just say, I just want this to be over. I'm just done with it. I just want it all to be done and over with. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Bears will show up on Monday Night Football and just say, this is it. We're done, and we're going to show everybody that what we are capable of and take the Vikings to the limit, maybe even win the game. But after what I saw watching Red Zone last week, I think the Bears are at that stage where they're just like, whatever. Just give me a tea time. I want the season to be over.
No, absolutely agree.
That's how it feels to me also.
It's the way it feels. It's the way it should wind up going on Monday night. So we'll have to see if it actually does end up that way. Hopefully it will.
All right. That's our show for this week, other than, Drew, you have a milestone.
Aaron Jones is the milestone this week, folks. And I know a lot of people are happy about that. Aaron Jones needs 107 rushing yards, Ted, to reach 1,000. 107. It may happen Monday because the last time he played the Bears, what did he have?
106.
So, same team, kind of. Are they broken?
Yeah.
More. 106, it would be his 4,000-yard season, and he is slowly creeping up on 7,000 rushing yards for his career. Wow. Pretty good career so far for Aaron Jones.
Hope he gets it in the first half, actually, with 2 rushing touchdowns.
That'd be nice.
I'm not even going to bet against that. That'd be a great prop bet, wouldn't it? You'd probably make some serious dough on
I don't gamble. That's just me.
I don't gamble either. I just talk about it.
All right. For Drew, for Chris, for Ruby, I'm Ted. SKOL Vikings. We'll see you Monday night after the Vikings-Bears Monday Night Football contest. Bye. One stat.